So finally, we come to the point, the importance of media. I'm going to trigger you with past and the future at the same time. But I chose this panel because with the topics of training initiatives, festivals and markets, and the importance of networking. You need to get outside your national borders, to network, meet people, and to see from each of you how you do it, actually, through your initiatives, festivals and markets. But let me see who is who. So I will start with dear Kristina Trapp. She is the manager of EAVE. Can I call you EAVE? A manager? There is something about EAVE. And I never know how to pronounce it. Is it Eve, EAVE, but...
Anything goes.
Okay. You were, since '99, actually involved in film business and related to various film positions, and somehow you settled from 2004 at EAVE, and in 2009 you became chief executive. Then we have Matea, Milić. She has a bit different background, art history and Slovak language and literature. And you joined the Animafest team in 2012 via distribution sector and acquisition of rights. And since 2015, you're the producer of the festival. Then, dear Barbora Struss, actually my ex-media desk colleague, you gave up on us. But you're doing quite well at MIDPOINT, even though you are also related to international PR activities from Carlo Vivari, film sales in Germany. You're everywhere. And Danish script development initiative as your background. And Leena Pasanen, whose comments were quite valuable for the first panel. Your first professional journalist, but ending up in the film business. Today you are really someone who is recognized as tutor at different markets and training initiatives, and one of them is the only one, Zagreb Docs Pro. And above all, you are managing and artistic director of Doc Leipzig. This is since 2015. Yeah. So media has been supporting, among other schemes, festivals, continuous training initiative and markets. And to be correct in number, for this year, the amounts are for festivals 3.2 million. So festivals throughout the 39 countries. Continuous training 7.5, and markets via stands 2.6. So let's start with the EAVE. As I said, there is something about EAVE. You have your special groups, leaders. Then Group A meets the tutor from the Group A. I don't know how the tutors and experts know who is who, but somehow it functions well. So what is the special recipe of the EAVE? And if you need to pitch EAVE to new coming film professionals, how would you do it? Or do you want to start with the trailer first?
We can actually start with the trailer, because then I don't need to bore you with the general presentation of the program. Okay. So maybe that's a good way to start.
So, EAVE.
EAVE is one of the leading training and networking programs in Europe. We offer workshops for mainly producers, but also other industry professionals. Our flagship program that we've been running for almost 30 years now is the EAVE Producers Workshop that gathers over 50 producers every year from Europe and the rest of the world.
EAVE is not just like any other training for producers. I think it's a training that allows you to go deeper into your inner motivation, why you want to work in the cinema sector, and pushes you to a reality check.
Well, we meet a lot of great experts, and they really take their time to talk with us on the single projects. It's really great to have them here, like kind of captured in a hotel, and you can approach them all the time and have sessions with them.
I think that at the end of the workshop, every participant knows what kind of producer they are, what kind of films they want to produce, and how to get there.
Many producers see the digital age as a threat, and at EAVE we're trying to assess this more as an opportunity for them to get adapted to the changes and the new ways to connect with the audience.
The very important aspect also of what we could share with the participant in those sessions is how you can think international at a very early stage.
I'm using this opportunity to develop as an industry professional, as a producer, and also to develop my company as a business. And so far I must say that EAVE effect kicked in.
I would suggest it also to documentary producer like myself, who has mainly a background in documentaries, because this really helps them think a little bit more outside of the box.
EAVE has been in a leadership position of training, the focus on the importance of digital distribution, and is continually pushing the envelope. You know, EAVE stayed one step ahead of what is going on in the industry.
You feel actually you're not alone. You're sharing the same vision, the same obstacles, and the same dreams.
At EAVE we try also to focus on running a business. We think that producers are not only people who produce films, but we are entrepreneurs who have to run a company, and preferably a sustainable company. So we are thinking together with them where they want to be in 5 years and how their business can grow and stay sustainable.
I feel, and my partners in the company also feel, that we've profited tremendously from this time, and I do feel that this will elevate our company to the next level.
Talking about concrete results, over 35% of projects developed at EAVE are successfully realized. 55% of them get an international sales agent on board, and 25% of them have a successful international festival career.
Film is a personal business. The network is best practice. It's how we finance and make our films. And this network is invaluable.
That's it. Thank you.
I liked your statistics, the numbers and the data.
So I think actually when you say what is the recipe or so, a lot of it was already said in there. So I think when EAVE was created by Raymond Ravard 30 years ago, he was actually very visionary, because at the time no tools for co-production really existed. It was more a dream than a reality. Eurimage didn't exist. So I think we try to keep that as a trademark of EAVE, of being innovative and reinventing ourselves, because times are changing all the time. So that's one. And the other point I would say is that it's very much about sharing, having an environment which is non-competitive, where people can feel at ease to share their doubts, because the industry is very competitive. So you need a moment to step back where you can share and create a network of people you can trust. So in a nutshell, that's maybe it.
How do you choose your tutors and group leaders? You have special gang of them.
Yeah, it's a special gang of people that are with us for a very long time, and of newcomers also. What we always try to do also is to, in our network, to discover the new talents that can be tutors in the future, because what EAVE really is the network of people who do EAVE. That's the strength. And there are great people among them who become trainers eventually.
Yeah. And I would like to underline that the first Croatian participant was Ankica from Croatia, and she's also national correspondent. And I remember at the time I was at the Ministry of Culture, and it was difficult to explain why EAVE, what the EAVE is about. And it was 2007 when I actually started on behalf of Croatia to apply to EAVE. In the meantime, we did organize one workshop in 2012, and hopefully we shall see what happens in 2020 during Rijeka. Yeah.
Yes, I really also want to thank you, Martina, for the last 10 years. You've been doing an amazing work, and also ambassadors and professionals like Ankica, because the word of mouth is really what makes it happen. And I'm very happy about the strong relation with Croatia that EAVE has had in the last 10 years. We had 42 professionals going through our programs. We have various programs. We had the very successful workshop in 2012, so that's a strong link that we absolutely want to keep up for the future.
Yeah. Maybe I move to Barbora, because it's another training initiative, MIDPOINT. Would you like that we start with a presentation, or?
Yeah, maybe I...
You want to go there? Okay. What do you offer?
I just was thinking during the last presentation how to attract you after such strong missions and words what were said, and I realized that maybe starting with being personal, but not maybe egoistic. Hopefully it will be not taken as I'm an egoist, but MIDPOINT is, I have Matilda, a daughter who is 6, and then I have MIDPOINT who is 9, which is 9, and actually MIDPOINT is really my baby, and of course it wouldn't exist thanks to the great team and great tutors what we have, but really from the really scratch, modestly, I have to say I was the initiator, and thanks to FAMU, the film school in Prague, who has been hosting us, or we work under auspices of the film school, we could establish the program, overdo some collapses, and then hopefully grow. And I also would like to thank Martina, but also a friendship lover, because Martina has been with MIDPOINT since the very beginning. We are not only friends but colleagues, and she has been supporting the promotion of MIDPOINT not only in Croatia. So basically this was the personal level, and what we offer, what I briefly, so this can be, okay. So, no, I can just say, so what is MIDPOINT? I will tell you very briefly. Then we have several programs which have recently extended and gained new partners. And then also we have a very specific relationship with media, which might be well, I would like to share it with you. And also the connection to Croatia, since MIDPOINT, and this is very important, MIDPOINT is, with all its activities, focusing on Central and Eastern Europe. According to Wikipedia, it's also Adria and Baltic countries. So just really the whole, and I really don't like this description, the post-Soviet region, and the gender statistics. So I will start first the very short pitch of MIDPOINT, what MIDPOINT is. So, we are an international training and networking platform, which means we work with narrative films and TV series, since the documentary films and the support for development of documentary films is quite sufficient, especially in, Central Europe. There is a training, there are 2 training programs, Ex Oriente and Doc Incubator. So therefore our focus is narrative films and not therefore, but we saw it would be pointless to work with documentaries since there are such strong players on the market. So what we offer, we started as purely script development program to help emerging filmmakers with their scripts, but over the years we developed to script and project development program. We are for emerging film professionals and aimed at creative teams of writers, producers, and directors. And as I mentioned, focused on the region of Central, Eastern Europe, Baltic, and Balkan. Nowadays, we offer 3 main programs. 2 of them, Feature Launch and TV Launch, are international. And the Script Consulting Incubator, I will very briefly introduce it to you in my presentation, is aimed and designed for the Czech film industry and was initiated by the Czech Film Fund. And MIDPOINT Intensives are programs which we organize internationally with film funds, European or also world international film funds, and they are mainly tailor-made, but again focused on mainly on script and project development of narrative films. For example, last year we did an intensive in Nepal, and we have a close collaboration for 4 years with Iceland. So regularly for 4 years we have been organizing workshops for Icelandic filmmakers. Oh, okay, no, this is not. So Feature Launch. This is our oldest program, and basically in this year we are introducing in a purely new format, shape, and with new and strong partners. And I hope for the filmmakers, producers, writers, and directors from not only from Croatia, it will be even more appealing than before, which means we accept first and second feature films and short films, and with Gyula Gazdag from Sundance Institute, we created a platform which is incorporated into Feature Lounge. It's a training for script consultants. So basically the script consultants, young script consultants, are not only part of the training, but they have their separate education together with Gyula Gazdag. So we opened the Feature Lounge is nowadays a year-long program consisting of residential workshops with online and personal individual consultations in between. We accept 9 feature-length film projects, 4 shorts, and this year we have 4 trainees. We start in Trieste, within the Trieste Film Festival. That's the first workshop. The second workshop is this year hosted by the Serbian Film Center, and hopefully, and well, actually it has been confirmed, next year we will be in Lithuania. And the major change is the new partner, which is the Karlovy Vary Film Festival, and they, together with us, they became a crucial partner because they keep not only promoting the program, but also co-selecting the projects. And the projects will be then after Serbia, and Trieste, they will be pitched in Karlovy Vary as works in development program, as works in development. Then they will be the producers will be also offered consultations with potential partners and experts. And the module 4 will conclude, the producers will be offered further consultations during the When East Meets West again in Trieste. So basically we created a 1-year module to support the writers, the script development part, but also the producers, and help them to develop the project so they can successfully go into production. And the deadline for 2019 edition is this year in September. So, and TV Lounge, this program is I will come to media later. So basic TV Lounge is a program which is open to mini-series, ongoing episodic series that then can sustain multiple seasons, which is very simply put, it's mini-series or ongoing series. And from 2019, we will also introduce web series. We have strong partners, which is the Cinelink Drama Sarajevo, where after graduating from 2 workshops in Slovakia and during Finale Pilsen, the projects are pitched then in Sarajevo. One of our crucial partners is HBO, who is not only awarding the award of 5,000 euros, which is very much appreciated, but what also HBO does is support us with its experts and also scouting for talents from the respective region. The deadline is the same as for Feature Launch for 2019, and as I mentioned, in 2019 we will also open a new slot for web series. Well, and I was hesitating whether to introduce the script incubator to you, but maybe it could be motivating for representatives of film funds. It's an initiative of the Czech Film Fund, a wonderful lady, Helena Fraňková, who has established the fund and is running it successfully for 4 years. And basically the Czechs in the past, they had a great tradition of renowned and script consultants. This and the aim of the Czech Film Fund is to somehow to revitalize the profession of script consultancy, plus offer the Czech projects which get support for development, international script doctoring. So I hope this was, it's quite a complex project. So first aim is to educate new generation of script consultants, and secondary offer, and it's voluntarily, it's not obligatory, producers who apply with projects for development and they want to receive further support from the fund, except of the financial support. Through MIDPOINT, we can offer script consultancies with international experts. the agreement with the fund is just, we call it pilot project, is for 2 years, and the aim is to educate 8 local script consultants and help to develop 12 Czech feature film scripts. And maybe Martina, then, if so, it's not a long monologue because you know our history within media. MIDPOINT, thanks to the initial training, we could launch MIDPOINT in 2010, and after 2 years, the initial training scheme was cancelled by just not publishing the new guidelines, and we didn't know what to do. So, a strong partner, which is the Czech Film Fund, has been filling the gap for 4 years, and within the feature launch program, we plan to apply after 4 years to the new scheme Media has introduced, which is the regional action.
Can I just
Yes.
jump in because it's important to underline. When Media 2007 was established until 2013. So the focus was on all filmmakers, I mean, from the beginning till, let's say, very end professional. And then all of a sudden in 2014, and we as desks, we did not expect that, but there was a cut of the initial training and it was removed from media, and we lost the beginning of one filmmaker in terms of the training. They promised that it was removed to Erasmus, but it has never actually come alive. So from 2014 until now, we are not supporting film academies, nor really young, talented filmmakers at their beginnings. And I really hope that, because we were also writing some opinions, that it will come to the right decision makers at European Commission and the European Parliament, because we need to bring them back. Because you can't have the data of filmmakers who are already established and so on. You need to follow up and to really contribute in collaboration with film academies and young film professionals. Yeah.
Well, so we were, of course, advised to apply for Erasmus+, but we can't, with the already established programs and aims and goals, we basically couldn't meet the aims of Erasmus+, or the objectives of Erasmus+. So therefore, thanks to the local partners, even though we are working internationally, we can keep going and growing. So, and feature launch, we have been supported since 2007 within the new scheme, the Creative Europe Media Training. So, this is and I did an overview of all the Croatian projects since the very beginning and participants.
Do you have a total number, or
it's about 30. About
okay.
30.
Okay.
So 30 Croatian film professionals participated at MIDPOINT workshops up until now, or programs up until now.
If I ask you, females and males?
I will come to the, I don't have the statistics.
For example, in your management.
No, okay, so this is it. So the management, I found only a photo of 6 of us, that's the Berlinale delegation, but there are 12 women in the team, no men. Actually, when we interview or introduce calls for position, there is rarely a man applying for such position. We had one, and I was told then by him he was discouraged by the amount of women in the team. So before even we could accept or select him or make a decision, he stepped back himself. So basically there is 13 women in the team. I will start with the positive information regarding the participants. The overall number is it's quite equal. There are 52% of male participants at all MIDPOINT workshops or programs since the beginning, and 49 of female. What I realized just after seeing the numbers, actually that's not true, I realized it a year ago, we really have to work on the equality within the mentors team. And I don't want to go into more details. You can ask me about the reasons why. But yeah, this is a task for us.
Okay.
But yes, and the last, but yes, this is as I mentioned, we work on the auspices of the Academy of Performing Arts in Prague, and if you have time, you of course are welcome to visit us. And I am here to explain you more about the new shapes of the programs, and I hope to see you, welcome you at the midpoint. Thank you.
You can take a seat. So I will come back again to the numbers. So this year media is devoted 42 million euros to distribution. Festivals 3.2, continuous training 7.5, and the markets 2.6. So speaking about the festivals, let me hear Matea. So Animafest is a really creation success story in terms of the media support. So ever since Croatia entered media, Animafest was
receiving support and has been receiving it every year. Now we are waiting for results for this year, and I hope it will continue receiving the support from media, of course.
If you would need to pitch Animafest, some 3 highlights to introduce it to Croatian and foreign audience. One of the longest film festivals.
Yeah, it's the second oldest animation film festival in the world. It has been established in 1972. We are now approaching our 28th edition that will be held in June. As I said, we are dedicated only to animation, both feature and short, but only animation. We promote mainly independent, author-driven animation and screen around 350 films a year.
And what about the programming? Like, you're open to also young film professionals?
We have different competitions within our program. We have short film, feature film, student film, and children film competitions. And receive around, this year we received a bit over 1,800 submissions to all of these programs. And some 5% of submitted films enter the competitions every year. Our artistic director is selecting the program with the help of 2 more film professionals for each category. And for children film competition, we collaborate with the media psychologist from Slovenia, Martina Petrović. She selected our program for children for years now.
We could say that festivals are an important tool when it comes to a small country in terms of visibility, not only Croatian but also the European film. And you really show quite some films at your festival. And compared to the numbers when it comes to the distribution of the money, do you think there is enough money for all those 39 countries and the festival scheme of only 3 million euros?
Yeah, I would say that the day when we see results, media results for support, is both very happy day and a frustrating one, because when I see that 35,000 euro we received from media in the last 2 years, it's approximately 12% of our budget, and we are a very big and very serious festival. But that's our reality if we consider local financing that we receive. Around 35% from Croatian Audiovisual Center and City of Zagreb. Yeah, it's, of course, when you compare it to maybe double numbers for big countries, and that's 1 or 2% of their budgets. Yes, of course, I have 1 minute of feeling angry.
Maybe we can speak openly. We know
yeah.
that.
Okay, then I have 2 minutes if I can speak.
EAVE received media support for between 60,000–70,000 euros, because it's important for media to have a label. But this amount is only 1% of ITVA's total budget, and 70,000 euros are to small festivals. So.
Festivals in small countries, not small festivals, because I can't say that Animafest is a small festival considering the number of films.
Festivals in small countries. Yes. Sorry for that.
Yes, and of course we would like to approach other lines of financing within media, but the question is, do we have matching funds here? Can we afford ourselves to develop those programs while not having any additional fundings? Can we hire people that will do that until we get the funding? So, yeah. Of course, also the data part. Naturally, festivals have big databases. We have databases since 1972. We have online database from 2008. We have a selection database with almost 6,000 films now from 2015. If you're applying that logic of 70% of European films, we now have really a few thousand of European films in our database that are accessible online, which we don't grant access to anyone, but our selectors, of course, because we don't have right to do that. But I think it's really a big capital that we have, and we need to develop ways and get finances to make them more official. I can, of course, collaborate with my colleagues from other festivals and share information, share programs, share files, or anything. But everything is non-friendly and non-official level.
Informal, yeah.
Yes, informal level.
Yeah, because I noticed that media is putting a lot of unbelievable criteria for festivals to fulfill. It's not only showing films, but it's to have throughout the year activities for kids, for older, satellite events, special and different master classes. And then in the end, it's what actually are you supporting if it's the festival scheme. You really need to, for the 35,000 euros, include a lot of additional activities, yeah.
Yes, of course. The report part of the job with media is something that is both very frustrating but also rewarding, because you see how many things you do with the money, with the amount of money you have and you get. So yeah, if you compare festival program booklets from years ago or schedule, then you see there were a few venues. And the mean was to show films, of course, and to gather directors and filmmakers, and of course attract audience. But now, what we are doing is really growing every year, and every year the same question is: so, what's new this year? What is new that you have prepared? And
I feel you this way because I'm also filling all these reports. They're asking me to count how many phone calls I had and who asked what, and if the question was doubled or asked again. So I'm of course that I'm playing the game. Leena, so you are firstly very much recognized as a tutor. I wanted to underline this women quota during the Doc Leipzig, but you
I couldn't help myself. I had to jump in.
And now we have a different hat of Doc Leipzig. How is the relationship between Doc Leipzig and media?
I must say that it's excellent.
Oh.
But it's also because my relationship with media is very old. I started as a commissioning editor in the Finnish TV channel, where I was the 3-point lady sending letters of commitment. Finland is bilingual, so for every producer they got 3 points from me, so I was very popular. Extremely little money for the co-production, but very important letter for the media. Then I worked in Copenhagen as a director of EDN, and we organized 5 media-supported pitching workshops. So doing the media application 5 times a year was quite a challenge. Thessaloniki, Barcelona, Baltic Forum, and Bardonecchia, and the Nordic one. So it was great fun. And now at the festival, we do receive funding both for the festival and for the industry. So it's like 125,000 for the industry part, and then we receive 63,000 for the festival. So, but it depends on the number of European films that we are screening. And I must say that I actually think that it's quite right that media is asking a lot for that money, because it's a considerable sum of money. We get 188,000 approximately a year, and it is the one actually then directly benefiting the filmmakers and producers, whether in the form that we are bringing them there to network and to screen their films, or we bring the professionals who are potentially supporting them in the future, and also this kind of all the other activities, you know, it's quite right to ask them from us. And compared to many reports that we have to do for the German funders, you know, you are kind of peanuts. So it's I can't really complain in that sense. What I have noticed over the years is I kind of understand that without media we would not have independent production companies in the way we have. We would not have the number of films. And what has been great is the effort on development, like whether it's directly for the production companies as a development support, because you don't really get development funding for your films. You might get some from the National Film Institute, but that's it. No TV channels, no international partners are giving you that. So without that, we would be lost. And the fact that there has been so much on that, directly to the producers or in the form of training initiatives, it has been a great development. How they make their trailers today, how they prepare the script, how they learn how to pitch, and how they prepare their financial plans, strategies, budget. It's really, really incredible how much better they are today than they were 15 years ago. Surely we remember the first ones like coming, and they were a total mess. So in competition, this is something really, really crucial. And today, when it takes like 2 years to get your funding in place to make your film, you really need to know how to do it. And that has been extremely, extremely important. Now the whole landscape is changing so quickly that also, like all of us, we have to also consider what we are doing and how we are doing. And luckily, I can see a great development in the training initiatives. There's new ones coming out, but also the old ones are constantly upgrading and updating their services. So this is really, really important as well.
I don't know, probably you were aware of it because you work on various training initiatives and you help filmmakers as well. But at some point there was a danger to cancel single development scheme within the media. And for us coming from small countries, it was really alarming. Because the way that they wanted to shift the distribution of money only to distribution was a bit problematic, because it's not actually enough money meant for the development. It's only like 5 million euros for 35 countries, and this is somewhere where we need to start. Yeah.
Like I said, you can't get development funding anywhere else. And if you don't get the development funding, we end up films that are not as good as they should be, because people are sort of jumping into production way too early before really knowing what they should be doing. And that really is a big issue. What baffles me is when for example, if I do assessments for media, when you are assessing the project for development, you really go for great artistic European films. You really sort of celebrate the artistic approach in the film. Then when you're assessing distribution, you see the TV stuff. And something there doesn't connect. Like, you know, in my mind, you give the development funding to different kind of films that ends up then on the TV distribution, and that's really something that I don't get. And it's still really heavily based on the number of broadcasters. Even though there are some improvement, it's still kind of highlighting how many TV channels will broadcast today, when there are so many other platforms, and it's kind of totally forgetting festivals or any other kind of visibility and circulation that you can have for your film. And the importance of festival strategy is is kind of equally crucial than like which TV channel will broadcast your film after the festival circuit.
Now I would like to touch the issue with tutors, because it's important to have good quality tutors, either at different training initiatives, at festivals, doing some side events or so on. And since us desks, we like to always, we check out the things, we do the statistics, and then, we make some conclusions. And
you see the same faces in every workshop. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. No, I'm coming back to the media tutors, so experts who are evaluating the projects. That also I put it in one statement on behalf of Croatia, where because I noticed, usually the experts are anonymous, but then at some point you see who they were, and I was really shocked to see, at least on the Croatian behalf, some that who did not have any professional experience in production or so, but were. It's not that I'm undermining their profession, but film critique cannot understand and evaluate production, and the budgets and the financing and things like that. And I also noticed, there was also one conference in Warsaw some years ago. Ankita was together with me. This also level playing field with tutors. Sometimes Croatian film professionals, when they come from the workshops, they are like all out of their mind, like, because complaining that the tutors didn't get the story on the basis where they come from, if you know what I mean. And so we were also trying to put attention to that as well, that sometimes either, so you have tutors, experts from, if you have a balance, a mix of participants who understand the stories, the storytelling of a particular region. Or on the other hand, I know that EAVE has amazing experts who are so good enough in helping the filmmakers to get to the point of the story where it needs to be. So this was just a little reflection on it that I wanted to share with you. When it comes, do we have any questions? I'm sorry, I don't have my mobile phone next to me, so I don't know what time is it. So just to signal me, because
1:17.
1:17. Oh, sorry. Would you do you have any questions to those wonderful ladies?
The question would prolong the lunch.
Aha, you want to eat. Say it out loud. Yes, just so that we can also conclude. There is money in media, but I think it will need some revision when it comes to different priorities. And listening today to the EU Commissioner, and also had a conversation with her yesterday, I think we have now somebody on our side who understands. And as well, Doris, even though you are not, how shall I say, officially involved at the European Parliament, but you are very much aware of the things, and that you can also help us a lot in this matter. So 42 million euros devoted to distribution, only 5 to the development. Ah, okay, sorry.
I do have a question, because we ran an EVA training course, which was supported by Creative Europe. And what we found really, really difficult, and I don't know how you face this challenge, was that we received 60% of the financing, and we had to find the remaining 40%. And I found that a real challenge, because people who'd written letters of intent and pledged 10,000 euros here and there, and they suddenly dropped out. And I'm just wondering, Tina, for example, how do you handle that? Because that's difficult. Yes. And why don't we get 100% financing for a training course? But just throw it out there.
Sorry, can you repeat the last part?
Why is it that it's only 60%. Because 60% is quite difficult when you're doing a training course trying to pull it together, and it's very limited in what it can be spent on. So it's only certain staff members, and it changed. We had a consultant, she couldn't be financed. It was very difficult. We found it challenging. And in fact, in the end, I got to the stage where I thought, well, if it comes to it, I'm going to sell my car because I just didn't know how to complete that 20% as well. So how do you handle that?
It is a major struggle, and our workshop financing, because we always have a local partner, is becoming more and more of a puzzle that sometimes we have up to 20 financing partners, and you can imagine what the reporting of that means. So we spend days and night on reporting, whereas we should maybe be thinking also about other things. It is definitely a major challenge. And it's getting more and more difficult because also public funding is not really going up, so yeah.
We had to close down documentary in Europe, in Italy, in Pasanen, after 15 pretty successful years, because the rest of the funding came from the Italian municipality, for example, or some Italian banks or whatever, and you can never trust them. So the money comes, like, if it comes a year later. So all the hotels and restaurants and everybody was just waiting and hoping for the best, that the money would come. And this was every year, every single year the same. And then the guys come and say, oh, sorry, we actually cut 30% of this budget, so you don't get what we promised a year ago. So you know, this is the result. You lose some really, really good activities.
Well, we have, as I mentioned, a particular situation that with one program we have zero media financing, so the budget is about 150,000, so we have to fundraise all of that money. There is no co-financing, and so therefore that's one of the main reasons. Basically, we are going to apply for the regional support action, and then there is 80% of the co-financing from media. Unfortunately, and I was like evaluating whether to mention it out loud or not, but since we are here in a very informal, or not very, but also an informal atmosphere, the regional action has a big task for us. But then I was saying, well, okay, no, if there are no limits, no creativity, the regional action is only for the low capacity countries. Poland, our most natural partner in regarding of co-productions, culturally, historically, is medium capacity country. And we can't accept participants and talents from Poland. So despite of this obstacle, we have decided also for the co-financing reason to apply for the regional funding. So this is something that I had a need to share.
I will just edit. So basically, European Commission divides countries into 3 categories. So big 5, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, and the UK. We will see how it develops in terms of the Brexit. Then it's the medium capacity countries, mostly Scandinavians, Austria, Benelux, except Luxembourg. And then all of a sudden, in low audiovisual capacity, you have Luxembourg.
Norway. There is Norway and Luxembourg.
So the thing is, how do you divide countries? You know, you need to really take the sources of financing into consideration as well. Because the projects, you cannot compare really projects coming from Croatia and Luxembourg in terms of the budgets. And it's getting more and more difficult with new member states, yeah.
This whole new policy, I see the point why they do it, and I think there's a lot of goodwill in there, but it's a huge issue, for example, for the scholarships that we are giving. We are now free and obliged to give scholarships to Luxembourgish participants, and I love Luxembourg, but that's maybe not where the money should go. And other countries are kept out of this scholarship policy. So, for example, for Italians or Spanish producers, it's very tough. So they have no right to have a scholarship anymore. So it's a big issue, and it was only disclosed in Berlin. I didn't know about it before, so it's something we have to do lobbying about because it's a big issue.
This is also the problem. Like Italy, yes, it's a big country when it comes to fiction films. When it comes to documentaries, it's a nightmare. So they don't get hardly any public funding for now. There are regional funds, but you know it's minimum. Norway being probably one of the richest countries in the world, they don't even know where to put their money. So it's just insane.
And we definitely need some changes.
And last thing, there are the 3 schemes in the training program now: European, regional, and international. And within the European scheme, there is a limit. You can accept talents outside Europe, but not in regional. So regional is very, very strict. You can have only talents participants from the particular countries which are considered to be low capacity, with this bizarre situation of Poland or Norway. But there is no limit to accept anyone outside the low capacity countries, which and I guess it's not only me, consider this as a huge limit and obstacle.
And we started also as desks, and we are ministries of culture to put different statements to change this, because it's really becoming more and more absurd. When you evaluate projects, you cannot put them in the same box. Yeah. You wanted to? Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to say one very small thing, because we were talking about what had happened with initial training, and some of you will remember the meeting that was held in Brussels, where we tried to help the initial training programs find money from the education programs, which wasn't a total success because the education programs were so unhelpful. But what I would like to say is that there is still money available under other programs. And one of the problems, I think, for training in general is that it's quite opaque. I can remember at the time, and I admit freely it's not been my focus in the last couple of years, but we were looking at the possibility at that time, and I think it's a possibility that still exists. You needed an educational organization, a local authority. It had to be cross-border between 2 countries, and it was complicated to set up, but there was a 60% chance of success if you could find the different parties you needed. And there were no questions of low capacity or medium capacity, and the money was available. And I was speaking to a project that had managed to find the money, and they said to me, the trouble was, nobody knew how to get the money. But once I found the relevant people, and I managed to persuade my local authority, there was a lot of money to be accessed. And to me, because I went onto the Secretary General's site, which still exists, once you go there and you can find all the different funding schemes that exist in the European Union, and where there is still money, and there are statistics about what the odds are of getting your projects chosen, there are still areas where the odds are much better than the media program, where it's still roughly 1 in 7. So I agree it's a problem for training. It's always been a problem for training to find the matching funds. And already it was difficult when I was head of the program to get DG Competition to accept it wasn't making problems for competitiveness to go further. But there are other areas where local administrations are involved, where funding goes right up to 80%, where it's not so difficult to find 20%, especially when you've got a local authority involved that will quite likely meet the 20% on its own. So I think those must be avenues that are worth exploring, even if they are quite difficult, perhaps, to find the initial project. Anyway, just maybe a thought before lunch.
Before the lunch. I think we came to an end, so another applause for wonderful ladies. And just the small logistics. So please, I don't have it, but I hope you have it. The pink bracelet is your entrance to lunch. And please be around the lunch area because there will be a cake. So let's celebrate. Thank you.